Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we press the bigger picture of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for day 2 of the 12 Days of Litmas. This being my favorite flash fiction piece, and I hope everyone was able to find flash fiction and find one that they like on top of that. This story comes from New Sudden Fiction, short stories from America and Beyond, edited by Robert Shepard and James Thomas. Pardon me. And it is from a writer that I've talked a little bit about on Strip Cover Lit, but never really delved into. That writer being Joyce Carol Oates, who is perhaps the only writer in history who is as prolific as Stephen King. I am not kidding. Look, her stuff is everywhere. If you want to find new stuff, I guarantee you that this very month, whenever you're watching this, you don't have to be watching this in December. Whenever you watch this, you can take a happy trip down to your local Barnes & Noble, whatever book retailer is near you, and pick up one of the contemporary short story collections or the journals where people are publishing now, the 10 Houses of the World. And there will be a story by Joyce Carol Oates somewhere in one of them. This short story in particular is called Objects in Mirror Are Closer Than They Appear. I will not read the whole thing, but I will read a portion of it which I think really gives the meat of the matter some play. And it reads as such. First time you drive past my house, Tuesday after school, my big boob spike-haired cousin, Gwendolyn Barnstead, is sitting with me, smoking on the front steps, says, "Man, you are the handsomest man she has ever seen in actual life. My attention is fixed on the awesome vehicle you're driving. Some kind of sexy Jeep with big tires and a flat windshield and the military metallic dark green glare like a beetle's back. By the time Gwen's remark registers, you were already past." Being that I am a natural-born skeptic, the only rationalist in the family, I ask Gwen why you're so handsome, what's so special about you, and Gwen says, lowering her voice as if someone's about to hear, "There is not. My mom is flat out in her sick room, making a noise like breathing through a clogged nose. It looks like this really sexy jet black hair, like a Native American. Looked like he was wearing a white shirt, you know. A real shirt with sleeves. I don't know, he just looked really cool. Not like anybody who lives around here. Gwen and I wait for you to circle the block, and sometimes a guy will do that. You don't. Actually, we live outside town. There's no blocks here like in a civilized place. You'd have to drive around 5 or 6 miles on North Fork Road to circle around, but you might have turned your awesome vehicle around and driven right back in our direction, is what I'm thinking. Second time you drive past my house, about 6 p.m. the next day, it's a slower hour, and you were driving slower, and I'm alone in the front room where the 3 window panes are greasy from my forehead pressed against them, and when I see the awesome military Beetle vehicle, my heart starts knocking like crazy in my chest, and I'm thinking, hey, I know you, but I'm paralyzed and I can't run outside. I just can't. It's about time for me to make supper. Bring my mom her supper on a tray. The macaroni cheese casserole is in the oven, and I'm prowling the house nervous like red ants are biting inside my clothes, waiting for the phone to ring. It has not rung since I came home from school. It's like the phone is dead or disconnected or all of mankind is annihilated except me. And I'm staring through the grease prints, seeing the awesome glaring vehicle slowing. A single driver, male, with jet black hair, pausing to get the number on our house. Is that what you're doing? Trying to see the number 249 that used to be glow in the dark, but now it's almost invisible. And it flashes over me, like something in a movie, who you are, the man at Eckerd's. Jump forward. She goes to Eckerd's, and he is the pharmacist, and she is being rung up by him for her prescriptions, and she needs to buy other things. Then, buying the freaky bedpan, adult size, I asked for. I was kind of embarrassed and sullen, knowing my fate is not just to bring the damn bedpan home, but to dump its contents out in the bathroom periodically if/when Mama gets too weak to use the bathroom. And you didn't act all sappy and somber like people do when they hear about my mom's next scheduled surgery, etc. You showed what was on the shelves and made the recommendation, and I'm feeling my eyes sting with tears, staring at this really ugly, depressing, bright, shiny utensil coming into my life, and you said, "One size does not fit all, eh?" And you glanced at my rear in my tight bleached jeans, and I'm a skinny thing, 90 pounds, 5'2", and a warm, happy blush came over my face, and my knees went weak as water. She buys her stuff and leaves. Since then, you haven't been back. 3 days you have stayed away from North Fork Road. Why? Gwen came over and did my hair. It's spiked like hers now. Jet black highlighted with maroon green. We're out on the front steps smoking, bare-legged and barefoot, and our toenails painted frosty blue. Every vehicle that appears, especially pickups and vans, my heart gives a huge lunge. In 3 weeks I will be graduated. My grades are fucked, but they won't keep me from a school diploma. An actual diploma is issued by the state of New York. Until my senior year, I was on honor roll. I was co-editor of the yearbook. I was president of High Lows, and was almost elected senior class treasurer. Until she got sick, Mama had not a clue I was leaving here. Applied to Oregon, Washington State, not Niagara County Community College. And now not even there, I guess. Mama always saying when she can talk past a croak, she wants me to be happy, and I'm saying, more sarcastic than you'd expect from somebody almost 18 with an IQ said to be 162, Mama, I am happy. I am so happy I could piss my pants. Now, Gwen looks me over. I can see she's impressed. Well, you look okay, like for a prom or something. Prom. That's a joke. You look like real happy. It's the spike hair and the new eye makeup and toenail glitter. I had a few swallows of Mom's old Dago Red she'd hidden in the bathroom cabinet and forgot. My premonition is, you will appear on North Fork Road. Take me by surprise. I won't know when. Why shouldn't I be happy? I am happy. I'm waiting. Anytime a writer can cram longing, despair, shame, and hope into the same piece, a piece that is so short, you cannot help but to be impressed. We talked a little bit yesterday about Prospero and the Bluebird. Here, in this story, waiting and longing while hoping for acceptance is about as writerly an experience as I can put into words. Think about all of the... So, we come to this protagonist in a place where she is just sort of existing. She has this idea for why to have hope. She fixes herself up, and then it is that hope and that hope alone that makes it worth it, right? Simply the premonition of this man driving back past has given her enough hope that the effort of coloring, fixing her hair, painting her fingernails, being in some type of presentable clothing where she had done none of those things before, simply the hope is enough to keep her going. This is very much like writing. I think that a lot of writers figure out that they're writers because that they are a little off. There is something which they must do, and all of a sudden they realize that it's writing. And then they go through the process of figuring out how to write. They put on those clothes of a writer. They paint their toes by figuring out which writers they like to read and dissecting them. All of these things that go into creating a story and then sending it out, waiting and hoping for acceptance. And even the act of hoping in that situation is enough to get you started on the next story. So perhaps there is a little bit of that in there. But even if there isn't, this story of a person who, it sounds like she had lost herself. She finds some hope, and then she's willing to reinvent herself based on the prospect of hope alone. This is such a human tale that many writers are hard-pressed to put this sort of thing into a novel, let alone something that is shorter than 1,000 words. For that reason, it is my favorite flash fiction. I don't remember if this was assigned for the class in which I bought this book or not, but I remember I read it that semester, and it was a semester where I was in a flash fiction class. And this is a short story that I kept coming back to and coming back to and coming back to. And there's a lot of neat little tricks in here that I think a writer has to hope to emulate. And one of the main tricks that this story pulls off is the transformation of a character who is presented in such a naked fashion. When we see that opening, I read that opening, you know that person, you know that place, you know that state of living. Even if you haven't been there, you understand what life it is that this girl is living. And within 1,000 words, to see that twist to where she is not simply existing, but she states that she has an IQ of 162, and we believe her. We're given no reason to accept that other than that it is given to us, and we go ahead and believe it. But we also see that this world is not, the world in which she is existing is not built for someone with an IQ of 162. And there is tragedy there. And then there is tragedy with her mother. And there is tragedy with the fact that, and this sounds, I'm trying to find a way to make this sound less than despicable. I think that we've all been there for someone who is hoping for something which we know is unattainable. And it is sad to think of the ends and not their means. But is that really sad? Because, and there's a little bit of a difference here, I think, than most of the stories in that fashion. This is fairly passive. Sure, she does the work to be presentable, to attain any type of idea that she seems to think is desirable from the outside. But she does not seem to be seeking. Regardless, is the work worth it? This is one of those questions that literature makes us reflect on ourselves in some fashion or facet. So, for anyone who is working towards something, and this goes back to one of the Harry Potter videos, we talked about risk and reward, the risk of being a creative type. When there is a 99% chance that you're going to fail, there's only a 1% chance that you actually succeed anything. 99% chance that the work will be for naught. Is the work worth it? I think sure. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Why not? If you're going to be existing anyhow, you may as well be working towards something. If you do not, so you've got this idea. For me, being a writer, 99% sure chance I'm done. I will never attain that level of writerhood which I desire. The thought of not working towards that would be devastating. I would have to be incapacitated to stop working towards that. Even if I were dead, I might be working towards it in some way that I don't know. But I think that one of the that little literary moment in here where we are forced to look at ourselves through the light of someone else, we are forced towards introspection, from looking out to a story. Is the work worth it? I would be interested to hear your comments below. What situations in which the work might not be worth it? Because in this story, for example, that guy might never drive back past. Even if he does drive back past, is he going to hop out of his Jeep and suddenly propose to this young woman? It does not appear so. So, for what is this work? And is it worth it? I think that's the question. That is a question worth asking, if only for the hoops through which you will have to jump to answer it. I think the answer definitely has to be yes. But the way that you define, the way that you outline the answer of why yes is going to be something that defines you as an individual. So that is all that we have for day 2 of Litmus. Make sure you join me tomorrow for my favorite favorite short story. And again, if I come across any other booktubers who are doing this as well, which I hope somebody is, I will link their videos or channels in the description below.